Hello and welcome to another episode of G63 Dad, where I take your business problems or the things that you think about business and I try to answer them in my weird three-stage format. It is currently 2:29 today. I am early, but it is so overcast you would think it was 8:30 right now. It is almost night time. But that's just what Scotland is like. Apparently, we just don't have nice weather or light, which is deprived of vitamin D. I've even had to put a light on in the car so you can see my face because it's basically just night time here. But we have half an hour until kids get out of school. And as always, I need to arrive early because if I don't, I just don't get parked. And then I have to park 3 miles away, and then I have to walk to the gate, and I have to engage with other human beings. And that's just, no. So here we are, 30 minutes early, and we're going to spend this time together. And I'm going to talk to you today about an interesting subject, a little bit controversial as well. I'm going to talk to you today about what happens when you get a bunch of money, because it's not what I thought. So everybody thinks, right, that if you get a bunch of cash, your life is just amazing, right? Everybody thinks influencer lifestyle, man. I'm gonna go on holiday. I'm gonna live in Miami, and I'm just never gonna do anything. I'm gonna whip supercars. I'm gonna buy a Lambo, and I'm just gonna whip that everywhere. I'm gonna flex on everybody. That's what everybody thinks happens when you get a bunch of money, right? But the reality of running a 7-figure business, the reality of making 200k a month, right, is not that at all. It's not even close, right? I go away less now than I did before when I was in a 9-5 and basically broke. Like when I was living paycheck to paycheck, I was going on more holidays, vacations, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're from, than I do today. Every time I do go away somewhere, I go away almost exclusively to work in that location, go to sleep, and then come home. And that's pretty much what my going away is. The coolest thing I get to do is to drive my car. And even then, I'm driving it mostly to market my own business. So I'm not like taking it out and going to cool places or whatever. I'm not driving for fun. I'm driving it because it's a moving advertisement for my business, right? And everybody's like, oh man, yeah, I'm going to get breaded and life's going to be so easy. And I'm not going to deny that's somewhat true. Like, there is truth in, like, your life becomes easier if you do make money. So there's a nice point, I would say, where you're ultimately financially unlocked, right? And I would argue this is the number you should aim for as your starting block if you want to truly be comfortable, right? If you can make 5 figures a month, 10k, if you can make 10k a month in your pocket, you are pretty much financially free. Now, you can't afford to buy a Lambo, or like you can't afford to buy a yacht, right? Like you can't just drop 200 bags on a car, or you can't just go and buy a penthouse apartment wherever you like on 10k a month. But you are making 120k a year profit, right? Like that take home after your various taxes and whatever else that you're dealing with. But 10k a month is the point where you stop checking the price of normal things. So for me, when I was in my 9-5, like I would ask myself questions when I went shopping for food. Like I would ask myself, oh, will I get this one or that one? And it came down to which one was more price effective. Like, can I save 10 pence on this can, or can I save 15p on this drink, right? Because I'm buying 6 of those, so 15p multiplied by 6. It's like, there's a big saving, almost £1 in that saving. And like, when I think about it now, that's ludicrous. But that is the reality for a lot of people. And that's really saddening that's the case for people, that people are having to sort of, scrape the pennies together to save the pounds, as it were. And if you go into business for yourself, that magic pivot point where you stop checking the price of stuff is about 10,000 a month in your local currency, right? Depending on inflation, I don't know. Like if you live in a place where inflation is rampant, then it's a different story. I don't know. In the UK, probably actually, the way inflation's going today, maybe 10k is not the right number. But I think like for like sort of for theory purposes, we're gonna say it's 10k, right? And when I done that for the first time, I was like, this is amazing. I don't know what to do with my life now. I don't know how I don't know what's gonna happen now. Like, and nothing actually changed apart from I just stopped looking at the price of stuff, and it frees up your mind to allow you to make other choices that aren't those lower level choices, we're gonna call them. Not in a, and I don't mean that in an, like, you know, in like a superiority complex way. What I mean is if you're focusing on if you can afford to buy a drink or not with your sandwich, you're not focusing on how you can make money. When I go into a store now, when I go into a shop and I'm giving them money, I'm very much focused on how I can get money from them. Rather than, oh, I'm giving them £5, I'm giving them $5, whatever it is I'm giving them. I'm not focused on what I'm giving them. I'm asking myself the question about the transaction instead. They're taking money from me. How are they doing it? Why am I allowing this to happen? Well, because they've got a product I require. Right, okay. So is it that simple? Because I just walked in here and gave them my money with no questions, no protest. If I'm trying to sell a service to someone, there's so many protests. Like I'm trying to sell a marketing service to a new talent that's coming on board. Like they've got questions. They want to know what's going down. They're like, because they're business-minded individuals, right? Whereas if you're not a business-minded individual, you just think about how much it costs and not what you get back. And so that ties very nicely into sort of like how you sell your service, right? It's like you have to figure out how do you get money from people. And if you're busy thinking about how much things cost you, then you can't figure out how to get money from people, basically, right? And I would say that once you start doing like 5 figures a month, that's the thing that happens in your brain, right? You start talking about what, how do you get more? How do you go from 10k to 20k? How do you go from 20k to 50k? How do you go from 50 to 100k a month? How do you do this? And what does it mean for you when you do? And actually, like, nothing really changes after that. Like, I'll be honest, nothing changes. Like, again, you can just buy more stuff, or you can go to more places ultimately. But you recognise then that whenever you do that stuff, like, oh, I'm going to go away for a week, you still have to work. You still have to do stuff. You don't just go and lie down for a week like what everyone else does. You're in a 9-5, right? And you take a 2 week holiday, you take a 2 week vacation from your job. You don't do anything for 2 weeks. You go to wherever you're going to go. You go to Spain on holiday, you go somewhere in Europe, you go to the States, whatever you do, you lie beside the pool and you relax. That's not what I do. I go to places to work rather than go to places to relax. Now, don't get me wrong, I might relax whilst I'm there, but I go to places to just do more work and a different kind of work ultimately. And I suppose if you want to ask the fundamental question then is, how does money change you? It doesn't really. It just allows you to do more stuff, but the more of it you get, the more you have to work to maintain it. Because as you get more money, you spend more money. So, like, your income increases and your outcome or your outgoing just increases alongside it. You don't just keep all the money. You don't just have this bucket full of cash. It goes somewhere. You find things to do with it. And one of the things I found to do with it was actually to look outside. And I stopped thinking about it as a thing that belonged to me. So I started asking myself, okay, so if I unlock myself, right, and I can get away from my 9-5, what would happen if I'd done it to someone else? So I started bringing people into my business that I knew had great potential or that were close to me, that I knew that I could trust to do anything that needed to be done. People that had a broad skill set, right? So for example, like, my sister works for my company now, and my brother-in-law works for my company, my wife and her dad, and my wife's sister. Loads of people that are in my direct family now work for the business. And they all had different skills. Some of those skills needed to be developed. Some of those skills they already had, and I could leverage them from day one. But the important thing is that they were all the same in the sense that they had a 9-to-5 role, and they were confined in that 9-to-5 role, right? And the second that you pull them out of that 9-to-5 role by convincing them, look, come and work for my company, take a leap of faith, come and work for my company, and we'll get you into a position where there's, 5 figures a month coming into your house, right? How does that sound? And that proposition's nonsense to a lot of people, but showing them the facts, showing them what I'm doing, showing them how we're moving forward, showing them what my plans for the future are, and getting them on board with that vision, right? All of them, one by one, they came. And one by one, when they came into the business improved. Because I took time to carefully handpick who I wanted to be involved. It's like hiring and firing, I suppose. It's like recruitment, but it's different in the sense that you need to think about the value add and how you then add value to other people. So, for example, Jordan works for my brother-in-law Jordan, right? He's the tech director, and he needs to upskill a lot. And like he won't mind me saying it, he's done a lot of training courses to improve himself. Excuse me, still got this cough. It's gonna ruin me. He done a lot of training to upskill himself, and I think like applying knowledge to people is the number one value add thing you can do. Like you can do stuff to make money, but if you improve yourself constantly by just learning new stuff, you're gonna be active. You're gonna make more money constantly. You're just gonna invest, $5K in a course this month, and then in a couple of months you're gonna see that money come back because your outputs are gonna go up 2, 3, 4x, whatever, based on making sure you're learning quality stuff, obviously, but making sure it's relevant. Well, I never understood that when I worked in a 9-5. I want to do this course. And they were like, is it relevant to your role? And I'm like, no, but it'll add value somehow. And they're like, no. Because they know it's not going to add value to the business. It's going to add value to me, but not to the business. I'm like, I want to do this project management course. And they're like, it doesn't add value to us right now, so no. And I never really thought about that until I started training other people in my own company. But yeah, so like, rather than asking myself, how can I keep all of this money to myself? I ask myself the question, how can I unlock people in my direct proximity to improve both my experience and my outcomes, and also improve their outcomes, right? So I say one by one, people joining the business, and one by one, we started putting them all into a position where they were in the same place. They weren't looking at the price of stuff anymore. And that, for me, is the fundamental thing that has changed for me. Historically, and don't get me wrong, I had a good job before. I had a nice, comfortable job. Sorry, I'm super dry today. I had a nice, comfortable job, right? I had a great 9-5 where I was making good money, and I was fine. I was still living paycheck to paycheck, but only because my expenses had increased with my income, right? I wasn't smart with it before, but now, the change that's occurred is I don't seek to just make more money to spend it. I seek to make more money to add value to other people, to unlock them, to get them to a position where I want them to go. So it's interesting because I never really seen myself as that sort of person. Like I always thought of money as a very personal thing. Like it's a thing like, I need to get more cash so that I can buy more stuff, so I can go more places, etc. But now I see having more money as a way to leverage other people into better positions. And that's how I know I've changed as a person, as an improvement for the better, I would say. I definitely feel as if I am a much improved version of myself because I think more about not only what, and I'll be honest, I'm asking myself the question, like, do you add value to the business? Do you add value to me? But that value exchange, I'm asking myself, do we add value to each other? And from there, like, how do we make progress? How can we make more for each other? That's what I'm asking. And I would say that's the main insight that I've got on it. Like, so, yeah, a bit of a ramble today, to be honest with you. It's so dark and miserable here. It's been raining for like 4 days. I don't know if you heard it on the mic, hopefully not, but like the winds are like 60 miles per hour here right now. There's a weather warning. Like in Scotland, I've never seen this, but there was a tornado warning earlier. I was like, that's not going to happen. But I'm sitting here waiting to get the kids from school, and I'm like, I wonder if a tornado is going to come and just sweep my children away. Hopefully not. Like, that's what the Met Office are telling us. This wind is a threat to life. I had to go and anchor a trampoline yesterday. Like, I'm very cavalier in my attitude towards this trampoline in my backyard, and I've got it there for the kids, and I'd never anchored it down. And yesterday, I was actually afraid. I was like, nah, we're going to lose this. I'm going to need to anchor it. And I'm out there in the rain and the wind, just screwing this thing into the ground. It's honestly so miserable here. But away from the miserableness of that, somebody once said, as a closing thought, right? Somebody once said to me, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you a jet ski. And I have never seen a man or a woman on a jet ski having a bad time, right? So, with that in mind, how does money change you? It changes you how you allow it to change you. I think it's what's the word to say here? I think it magnifies what you are. So I didn't realise maybe before, but I was a person unlocker before, and I just couldn't do it. Looking for opportunities to improve people and improve their outcomes. I was that before, and having some extra cash that's unlocked me has allowed me then to unlock other people. It's magnified the thing I wanted to do and the thing I actually find that I enjoy doing most, which is unlocking other people. But if you're a greedy individual, you might find that it just magnifies your greed and you just want more and more and more. You just buy stuff and you hoard. Like, it depends on what kind of person you are. I am happy with the kind of person that I believe I have become. And that would be my closing remark on it, quite frankly. How does money change you? It just makes you more of what you are. That's my thoughts on it. So yeah, hopefully that was insightful. If it wasn't insightful, please do tell me, and I'll just never talk about it again. Um, I would love to get more questions from you guys. So as I always say, first and foremost, if you want to see more of me, hit the subscribe button, get me followed, get that bell on so you get alerts whenever I put up a new video. I'm going to aim to get one up every day on this school run. And if you wanted me to talk about any specific things, any specific topics you want me to cover, problems I've encountered in my business and what my thoughts are, how I explored them, how I dealt with them, then please do give me a comment and let me know what you want me to talk about. I'd love to make a video centered around, what someone's asked me to do. Absolutely would love to do that. So a bit of engagement from you guys is going to make that happen. So please do, if you're watching, give me that fuel. Give me that fuel so I can keep the fire going. Let me talk about something that matters to you rather than just what I think matters. If you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to follow me on Instagram. My handle's going to be somewhere. And you can go ahead and send me a DM on there as well. There's free value on there too. I've done a few videos on there as well. Hopefully take some value from that. But yeah, my mission is just to provide value on this school run as much as possible. So hopefully there was value taken from that today. And again, if not, just let me know about it. I'll stop talking about it. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Peace.